Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I have another wrap-up video, all the books that I read in the winter video for you, and I have 10 books over here with me to talk about because I read 10 books over December, January, February, and the beginning of March, so not a lot. I've been in a bit of a book slump for sure, so I need to do something about that, but for now, let's talk about these 10 books that I have read over the winter. Let's just get right into it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, let's talk about them. So first off, I have Love Theoretically here. This is a Ellie Hazelwood book, which I always love. I'm talking about this like I've read so many books from Ellie Hazelwood. This is the second book that I have read from Ellie Hazelwood, and the second book that I loved. So this is a book about a theoretical physicist named Elsie, and she is trying to break through in the science world, basically. And the thing about Elsie is that she's a very big people pleaser. She always does exactly what people think they want, and she always forms herself and her personality to whatever she thinks the people that she's interacting with want from her. So she's never herself. And that was very interesting for me to read about because I could really relate to that because I feel like I have this same problem. But in this book, Elsie meets Adam, and Adam is a professor at some big university in America, like MIT or something. Well, yeah, MIT. They fall in love, of course. But Adam pokes through her fakeness really quickly. No one ever does that, but he sees through her and he immediately knows that she's not being herself, and he really helps her with finding herself. The conflict in this one is for Elsie herself and her career because there's some stuff going on that holds her back, and the other conflict is that Adam and Elsie know each other through Adam's brother, because Adam's brother has been fake dating Elsie, and Adam, of course, doesn't know that they're fake dating. So he thinks that it's his brother's girlfriend, and there's some miscommunication. And I don't usually like miscommunication tropes, but in this one, it was like, yeah, why would they have communicated about that? So it made sense. I really enjoyed this one, and it was eye-opening and actually therapeutic for me. So I would really recommend this one to a lot of people. I would definitely recommend this to people that can kind of relate to the fact that Elsie is putting on a mask for people. If you can relate to that, I would recommend you reading this. Be aware though that it could be very confrontational for you, because it was for me. I read some of this and I cried because it was emotional for me to read about someone going through that. And yeah, it was just emotional. But yeah, I really loved this, and it was basically a little bit life-changing for me because of that. So would recommend this. And also just for the romance, it's just fun, and the banter that Ellie Hazelwood puts in her books is great. I love it. I usually laugh out loud. I laugh out loud at Ellie Hazelwood's books, the two books that I have read. Love Ellie Hazelwood. Will be buying the next book that she wrote soon. There are a few books out right now, new books like Bride and the chess one. I don't know. I'm going to buy every book Ellie Hazelwood has written as soon as my book buying ban is lifted, which, like I said, I haven't read much. I've been in a book slump, so I think I'm going to have to reevaluate my book buying ban. I've not bought a book in 3 months. Actually, I bought one book to gift to my husband, so that doesn't count. But yeah, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. So yeah, the book buying ban. I was thinking, let's keep it up until halfway through May, because that's when my birthday is, and I'll lift the book buying ban for my birthday. If I don't read enough books before that, which I probably won't, because I think I should read like 50 more books. before I could lift my ban, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to gift myself the gift of being able to buy books again on my birthday. So anyway, let's go to the next one. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I just finished this one, and I really like this one. This is about a girl who is just a normal human girl, and she lives in the normal human world, but one day a fairy comes to her door and something happens, and she is dragged back to Fairy, the land of the Fae. And she is being brought up as a fairy child, but she's human and mortal, and all the fairies know, of course, but she gets the childhood that any other fae would get, but she's human. And so she also goes to school with the other fae children, and this book takes place when she is almost an adult. I don't know how old she is actually, but I'm guessing 16, 17, 18, something like that. And she really, really wants to be part of Fairy now. So she has devised a plan. She wants to be a knight for one of the Fae. And, this is her goal. This is what she's striving towards. And the Cruel Prince is one of her classmates that is cruel and prince. So it's kind of a bullying plot. And there is romance in this. Is there? Yeah, a little bit. So the King of Fairy is abdicating for one of his sons or daughters. He has 6 of them, and one of them is this classmate of her, the Cruel Prince. And stuff happens, intrigue, politics, stuff happens. And yeah, I don't know how to explain it any further. But yeah, it is basically about a mortal girl growing up in Fairy and wanting to be a fae herself, and doing the most to get a part in their world and be respected in their world. And I really enjoyed it. It is one of Haley Pham's favorite books. That's why I picked it up. And I will definitely be reading the next one soon, which is The Wicked King. Really love this one. Oh, by the way, 4.5 stars. 4 stars. The next book I have on the list is God Killer by Hannah Kaner, and this is about a girl that is bound to a god, and she meets up with a god killer and a knight from the king, and they make a journey towards a city where a lot of gods live to try and find out how they can lose her from her god, so that they can live their separate lives. And in this land, gods are actually forbidden, so it's a perilous journey, and it's hard. They have to keep concealed that there is a god with them, and there's also conflict because their god killer doesn't like gods, obviously, and the knight from the king is the one that made the rules and outlawed gods. So this girl and her god are traveling with 2 people that are supposed to be against gods. I liked it. There was a lot going on, and so this thing about the gods, it was pretty much, gods were pretty much like Fae as well. I didn't really, they didn't feel like gods because they were just among men, and that was where they lived. That was how they were, and they had like these shapes of, a lot of fairies and Fae also have non-human shapes, and there were some old and powerful gods that did have human shapes, it seemed like. So I don't know, it seemed, were they gods, were they fae? They are called gods, so let's go with gods, but they were pretty much fae. There's a little bit of found family in here. There's a quest storyline, so that's really fun, and I enjoyed this enough. I think I gave this 3.5 stars. Like I said, I'm in a bit of a book slump, so the books that I am reading are not, I might be a little bit too judgmental on them, but I enjoyed this one. I would recommend reading this one. It's a short and quick story with different POVs, so you go through the chapters pretty quickly, and it's fast paced. I enjoyed this one. I would recommend this one, but I'm in a book slump, so nothing is hitting that spot quite as much as it probably would if I wasn't in this kind of mental state. Anyway, let's move on to something that I really, 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 really loved, which was The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I gave this 5 stars. So even though I am in this book slump, this one was great. It is almost 1,000 pages, so I took quite a long time reading this, but that's fine. This is the second book in the series, The King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, the second one. So this series is about Quoth, who is telling his life story basically. So you start at his inn and where he is telling this story to a scribe, and then you go, like, while he is telling his story, you go to the story and you're in his story. And in this book, he is at university. He is in a university where he studies magic, and he also goes on a little, like, a sabbatical year. He goes somewhere else for a year, having other adventures outside of school for a year. Anyway, really love this one because of the writing. It is very character driven, and the characters are very lively. They feel very realistic. The conversations and interactions that they have are very realistic. And this was very interesting because he goes to a different country where there is a different society that has different customs. They don't emote with their face, they emote with their hands. They have like some sort of, what's it called? Gesturing language. What's it called? The hand language. I don't know. I sorry. I don't know what it's called in English. Well, I do know, but I don't remember what it's called in English. But anyway, so they have this language with their hands that is emotion. It's so they have their faces are blank and they make emotions with their hands instead of with their faces. Very interesting concept. He is learning this language as well while he is at that society, and this society feels better than the rest of them. He's being called a barbaric a lot of times, so it's very interesting. And there's high stakes, and there's a lot of different places and story. So he has a story at university, and then he decides to move over to a different city where he has a different storyline, and then it it's really a life that you're being told about, because it's not one storyline that is very clear from the beginning and there's one conflict and the end is the conflict has been resolved. No, it's really his entire life, and like a life, there is a beginning, there's its birth, but there is not just one story that flows through it. It's different stories throughout his life. It's very beautiful, and I would recommend this to anyone. Everyone should read this. I really, really, really love this, and I cannot wait for the next one to come out. And in the meantime, I will have to console myself with the novellas that are out in this series. I think there are 3. Really, really, really enjoyed this. I don't know what else to say. This was just the best book I have ever read. I think this one was even better than the first one, which I also really, really, really enjoyed. So basically, if you read any book from my list, let it be this one. It is amazing. I loved it so much. Next. Oh, also another book that I really enjoyed, which is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia. No, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, which is the second book in the Emily Wilde series. The first one being Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Emily Wilde is a researcher of fairies, and so in this land, fairies are real. And she basically describes fairies, and she does research to fairies, and she does qualitative research. So in the first book, she goes to a town where she tries to find a specific type of high fae, and also she describes all the other fairies that she comes across, and she just has field notes, and the book reads as field notes, and there's also, little footnotes describing some other research from another researcher and stuff like that. It's really fun, and there's romance in here, and really, really fun. And in this one, she goes to a different town for different research. She's making a map of fairy now. So the last one she made an encyclopedia, and that's out now, and now she's working on a map. And for that, she went to France, somewhere in the, maybe it's Austria, somewhere in that vicinity. I think it was Austria, in the mountains, where another researcher, like 10 years ago, disappeared, and her assistant as well. She tries to pick up the research of that researcher, and in the meantime also kind of tries to find her, I think, because this researcher has been spotted a few times. So the thing about fairy in this particular part of the world is that it's really easy to get lost, go into fairy and not be able to get out and wander forever. So that's very dangerous, and she takes her niece on this journey with her this time, and she tries to navigate her relationship with her niece as an aunt, which is hard for her because she's not so good with people. I really love Emily Wilde and Emily Wilde's books. I cannot wait for the next one to come out, and would really recommend this one. This is not as big. It's for, oh, the sleeve is on backwards. It's written for children, so it's pretty easy read. It has big letters. There's not too many pages, so it's a way quicker read than The Wise Man's Fear. I really enjoyed it, and the book is beautiful as well. Emily Wilde, written by Heather Fawcett, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. So next is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, and this is the second book in the Empyrean series. The first one being Fourth Wing. So Fourth Wing is the first year in Violet's school career, and this one is the second year. And she doesn't go to any old school. She goes to a rider school, which is very dangerous because it's a military school where you learn how to ride a dragon, and the dragons choose you, and the dragons could definitely kill you if you're not chosen. And it's just dangerous all in all. There's a lot of assignments that could kill you, and a lot of people die, and it's very dangerous. And there's also war, and sometimes they have to fight in the war as well. I gave this one 3.5 stars. She is fighting with her boyfriend all the time, which is fine, I guess, but it's a bit boring if it's for 500 pages. How many pages is this? 600 pages. Yeah, it becomes a bit boring. Yeah. The main character, I got really annoyed with the main character throughout this book because she is very egocentric, which it fits the American life, society. It's very individualistic, but she becomes very egocentric, and she is very whiny, and everything that happens, she feels like it's her fault, and it's just it got really annoying at some point, and it was done in a way where she felt very egocentric and arrogant, and she had a big self-importance feeling, and it wasn't really fun for me to read, but for the story, I still wanted to read it, and I still want to read the next one to see if she makes up for it. But yeah, it wasn't, I read Fourth Wing. I really enjoyed that one, so I wanted to read Iron Flame, and I still want to continue the series, but it wasn't the best book in the series. I already can tell that this is probably not going to be my favorite of the series. Definitely not, because I already liked the first one better. Hopefully it's going to be back to something I like in the third book. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to keep reading that. But let's go to the next one, which is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. And this is a romance about figure skater and a ice hockey player. And they're both competitive sporters. Athletes, yeah, that's the word. And it's a very sexy book. There's a lot of sexy scenes in here, very spicy. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I liked the banter in it as well. I'm definitely picking up the next book in the series. So this is a series with every book has a different couple, I believe. So we're not going to see this particular couple. Well, we're going to see them, but they are not the main characters of the book, of the next book. Anyway, the story of this one is that her counterpart in her figure skating gets, what's the word? He cannot skate anymore because he had, I don't know, he broke his leg or something, and it's sort of his fault. So he steps in and trains with her so that they can go to this competition, and her dream of becoming an Olympic ice skater doesn't have to be forgotten straight away because of this injury that her partner has, and then romance happens. Basically. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Would recommend 10 out of 10. I thought it would be fun to read for winter because of the skating aspect, but I think you could definitely read this in the summer as well because I think it is warm where they are. And next, I read The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I really, really enjoyed this one as well. This is about a girl whose magic comes at a price, and her price is heartbreak. And she already has her heart broken twice in her life, so she only has one heartbreak left before her magic would disappear. And then her grandmother, who raised her, gets sick and she's going to die. So that's heartbreaking. And she shuts herself up a lot because of this curse she has. And then her boyfriend, who left her out of nowhere, returns to town after 10 years, and old feelings are being hashed up, and it felt very practical magic vibes, the movie, because I never read the book. But yeah, it felt very fun, and the magic in there was very, Wiccan like, so a lot of herbs and what they do. And she is a baker as well, so she makes cookies and cakes that have herbs in them that have magical properties and stuff like that. And it is mentioned a lot, like little one-liners about the magic. And it felt very cozy. It felt very fun to read, and it has put me in my witching era. So really enjoyed this one. Written by Brienne Randall, and I gave this one 4 stars. Next, I have, this is Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop, but this is the second book in the series. I did not realize when I bought it. So I read The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I don't have a physical copy of that. I read it on my app where I have ebooks and audiobooks and stuff like that. It's kind of like Netflix for books. So, but that one is about a girl in Scotland who lost her job, and then she goes to Glasgow. I think she goes to Glasgow. Anyway, her sister lives there and she's very successful. She's a lawyer and she has a big house with 3 children and a beautiful husband. And so she goes and lives with her sister, and their relationship is a little bit strained because they have jealousies among them. So the main character is jealous of her sister, and the sister is jealous of her for stuff. So there is the relationship strained, and she doesn't really know her nieces and nephew. But so she goes to Glasgow to work with an old man in his bookshop, because the bookshop is going to have to close down if it doesn't bring in any money. So she's going to help him make the store presentable and getting customers so that the store can live on. And she goes to live with her sister. Their relationship is going to become better, and she's going to get to know her nieces and nephew. And there's also romance in this. So very cozy, very Christmassy. Would recommend it, but I would definitely wait for Christmas to pick this up. But it was very great. I really loved it. I listened to an audiobook a lot while doing things around the house, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars as well. Very great. And I also read Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which is written by Su Lin Ten. I gave this one 3.5 stars, I think. This is about a girl who is the daughter of the moon goddess, and she lives in exile with her mom. And then and no one knows that she exists. But then something happens where it becomes too dangerous for her to keep living with her mother. So she leaves and she makes a life for herself in the kingdom, the celestial kingdom, and she basically becomes the companion of the crown prince in his schoolwork, and she becomes great friends with this prince, and romance happens, and there is a quest. She basically wants her mom to be free, so she tries to do something very great in the military so that she can get a wish from the emperor. So that's her goal, and that's what she's doing. And then there is two guys, and there's intrigue, and there's politics, and it's a great book. I just didn't it wasn't really for me. The characters kind of felt flat to me. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought that I would. Maybe I put too high of an expectation on this book, and then it fell short of my high expectations, because I really enjoyed The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and I felt like this would be kind of those vibes. It is very beautiful. Things that are being described are very beautiful, but the characters fell short. So if you are very much a vibes kind of reader, this would be great for you. I think this is a series, and I think I will be picking up the second book because I enjoyed it enough. I gave it 3.5 stars. That's still pretty high. Still enjoyed it, just not my favorite. And those were all the books that I read in the winter. So please let me know if you read any of these books yourself and what you thought about them. And please let me know if you're going to pick up any of these books after I talked to you about them. I am really curious to see if I persuaded anyone to read something. Please let it be The Wise Man's Fear, because that's really, I really, really enjoyed that book. But that's it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!